it is different for every student. Some students do well at where the assessment is at the end of the webinar. At the end of the sort of assessment, and some do it where they have a spreading out of the different exams, which is basically modular. So linear is where the assessment is at the end, and modular is where the assessment can take part throughout the course. The linear journey remains the same as it's always been, 2 years of study with exams at the end. The modular route, which is what we're focusing on today, is broken down into units. And essentially the idea is that with each unit, there's an exam at the end of each unit. And so what that allows is a breaking up of the different assessments. What this means, therefore, that whichever route you take, whether it's linear or modular, you take the exams take the same amount of time. Teachers spend the same amount of time sort of teaching, and everyone still has the best chance of success at International GCSE. So, the clear thing is that linear is where the assessment's at the end, and modular is where you can spread out the exams. So the key changes then. Right, so looking at this, the modular route, units assessments can be taken over multiple exams series. So that means they're offered in June and November. So you can take different units in June and November. Whereas linear routes, assessment units are all taken together in one exam series. So from the modular point of view, you could take an exam in June, you could take an exam in November. What you'll find with the linear route is you'll take all of the exams in the June series. Modular route grades are calculated on raw marks and converted to UMS. Grades are calculated on raw marks only. Now, this is one of the sort of key things as well, is that students can resit individual units in any exam series. So whether they took them in June or November, they can resit them in sort of either June or November. For linear, students can resit assessments for all units together in one exam series. So there's a limitation a bit more on when you can resit things. Once the student has all their units, results, they can cash these in results for their grade, okay? Whereas in the linear route, the grade students received calculated at the end of the exam series in which they sat their assessments. So essentially one of the things is that with the modular route, you can resit as many times as you like. And essentially what you get is the best of your most recent sits. So this is basically a pathway, or a kind of a model pathway of how the modular journey could actually take place. So if you start learning the course in 2023, the first unit you can actually sit as an exam for a modular is June 2024. So the first assessment is in June 2024. Then what you would do maybe is continue learning, hopefully continue learning. And then 2025 would be your unit 2. So you can see from that, you take 1 unit in 2024, 1 unit in 2025, and then what this will end up doing is giving you certification in 2025. So this is one potential model of how to actually break up your sort of modular journey. Are there any questions so far? Okay. So the benefits of a modular approach. We believe, and we have found this, that it reduces the mental load and stress by allowing them to focus on 1 year of curriculum at a time and spreads out their exams over 2 years. What this means, therefore, is that at the end of year 10, you could focus on just unit 1, and sort of obviously, therefore, when it comes to the end of year 11, you could focus on unit 2. So you could focus 1 year on human geography and 1 year on physical geography. So it focuses the mind, focuses on a specific curriculum. It provides opportunity to demonstrate skills and ability and optimize feedback to improve their performance. Essentially, what you can actually sort of see is, that this is real opportunity to understand very sort of clearly what students are able to do and demonstrate their skills and abilities, which means you can, sort of tailor your sort of feedback based on their performance. It also allows them to take exams when they're ready, like they do with any test, and also take advantage of multiple reset opportunities. This doesn't mean to say, that it's a case of, we can take it forever, so therefore, it's not high priority. It is the fact that, if, something doesn't go quite as well as they think, then it can be sort of redone again. In terms for teachers, I think this is one of the sort of key aspects. It provides mid-cycle data. Essentially, what this means is that at a very granular level, what you can do is sort of see very clearly how your students have performed on different aspects within the exam. You can do this via the post-exam analysis tool, such as Results Plus. So you can see, for example, are they particularly good at, say, map work? Are they, sort of not so good at handling data? Do they understand, key concepts? Those sorts of things. And so this mid-cycle data is really sort of kind of crucial and really kind of an advantage as a teacher, that you can then use that information, which is the important thing, to actually inform your teaching preparation for the second part of your sort of exam teaching. It also provides a consistent experience with international A-levels for exam officers. So essentially, because there is another exam season, the processes and procedures are repeated. So it's not anything particularly different, but it does allow more experience for that to happen. And from a purely monetary point of view, where parents pay exam fees, it will help with budgeting to enable families to read and spread their child's exam fees over 2 years. But so why choose Modular with Pearson's? Now, essentially, divide again into two separate things. It provides a flexibility to sit exams. It provides individuals real opportunities to resit individual units to receive their overall qualification goal. The Pearson Educational International GCSE is a 2-unit assessment. A 2-unit model means you can focus on physical geography and human geography, and it will test knowledge and understanding, as well as field work, evaluation skills, and key concepts. So the content in both physical geography, which is Unit 1, and Unit 2, human geography, is developed to be engaging, accessible for all learners. It's appropriate and relevant for progression. It's building skills, and it's building awareness of a range of geographical concepts, skills, including fieldwork, but in a modern concept way as well. From an educator's point of view, it is very much, you can, as teachers, localize your fieldwork, and content, and it suits the range of international learners in different regions. So if you're studying in Germany, for example, the local context is not going to be the same as if you're studying in, sort of Italy or Bangladesh or Pakistan or Dubai or wherever. The other thing is that, with this modular course, there are clear, straightforward question papers. They are accessible for learners of all abilities and ranges. A clear range of question styles is used, and mark schemes are straightforward, so that assessment knowledge and requirements are very clear. When we designed this international GCSE, the aim was to extend learners' knowledge by broadening and deepening the skills that they would develop. And that's very much a paramount importance within this qualification. We also sort of want it to be very much a holistic range of knowledge and skills. So, understanding of geographical concepts, including field work, presenting data, analysis, drawing conclusions, evaluating information from different sources, but also within a global context, particularly as an international IGCSE, it's really important. So awareness of global issues and challenges, and things like moving towards sustainable future, things like economic growth, the moving of economic sort of status, etc. as well. So all of these things are really important into why choose Pearson Educational GCSE, because it is something that actually really works for students in the modern world. So the IG modular overview. Teaching and learning. The idea is 120 guided learning hours. There is available for the modular specification, obviously. You've got sample assessment materials, and we'll come back to those in a minute. Getting started guides, teacher course planners, schemes of work. So there really is a wealth of material for teachers to have in order to support teaching and learning. I will come back to those in a bit. The assessment, you've got 2 units. Unit 1 is physical geography. Unit 2 is human geography. It can be sat in the November and June series. Resit opportunities, there's no limit, but what there is that the best 2 grades of your most recent sits are what are taken, cashed in. You've also got exemplar materials and Exam Wizard and Results Plus, as teachers will help you to analyse and get some granular understanding of how your students have performed. So how is the geography content split? I'm sure you can all sort of see that. I hope you can all see that. Is that the physical geography and human geography. And there are sort of 3 topics in the unit 1 and 3 topics in unit 2. If I just pause on that for a moment and let you have a look at those. So I think, very much looking at that content split, it makes sense. The physical geography divided into river environments, coast environments, and hazard environments. And then obviously going on to the human aspect, the economy, rural, urban, and also very much, sort of developing it into very much a contemporary sort of study. So it is about sort of obviously what's going on in the world at the moment, what's going on locally at the moment as well, in terms of the content split. But with this as well, it does actually show you how modular can work. So you can do all of unit 1, the physical geography, sit the exam at the end of year 10. Then you can focus year 11 on doing the human geography and sit the exam at the end of year 11, or vice versa. It doesn't have to be that way round. So teaching considerations and supporting student progress. Essentially the same considerations you would have for teaching a linear course, i.e. sequencing, threshold concepts, development of disciplinary and substantive knowledge, field work skills, etc., is the same. Okay, there's no difference in that. There is a June and November series. First teaching was from September 2023. First examination was obviously in June just gone. And first certification is in 2025. Basically, what that means is that schools that took the modular approach, it started the teaching in September 2023. They either took unit 1 or unit 2, for examination in June 2024. And then in June 2025, they would do Unit 1 or Unit 2. And therefore, in August 2025, a certificate will be issued. There's multiple combinations of papers, etc. So you've got some examples there. Unit 1, end of June, end of year 10, sorry, June. Unit 2, end of year 11. But you've also got Unit 1, June, resits, November, end of year 11, June as well. So you've got those built-in resit opportunities that actually can take place as well. So you could, if you wanted, still do sort of at the, still do, sort of 2 exams in the sort of summer, but one could be a resit, for example. Okay, so how do we support progression? Now, the idea is that this IGCSE provides knowledge as a basis for IAS and IAL. So the IG, to give you an example, how it progresses up. So some places are more hazardous than others. That's the kind of level for IG. When you then go to IAS, what are global hazards and what causes them? So you can see that there's actually progression in terms of the concepts that you're actually going to be asked to look at. So it's more than just some places are more dangerous than others. What are the dangers? How are they caused? What is the risk management? What is the vulnerability? And then you go to the A level, and then it's the impact of hazards. So hopefully that gives you just a slight idea about, goes from just looking at sort of general concepts of hazardousness to what causes them, okay, and then why do some tectonic hazards develop into disasters? So that should show you the progression of concepts in terms of the sort of that particular area of geography. And the idea is that the IG sort of starts you on that progression. Okay, so what support is there for your planning and schemes of work? All of this can be found on the sort of subject website, and you can go to geography sector, view all, and there you will find whole host of materials. Now, obviously, we've got the linear, but we've also got then the modular specification. So you can clearly download the specification. As it says, it's teaching from 2023 and external assessment from 2024, certification from 2025. That is your sort of go-to sort of document, which I'm sure everybody knows. Then you've got course materials. So the specifications then. This again is, as I said, it's from first teaching 2023. Key sections to note, why choose Pearson Education for this modular? You get a qualification at glance. Within that, assessment information. And so that very much gives you, your overview of what actually you are looking to do. What you'll also find is that, as I've shown on the screen, is you've got a clear breakdown of the 2 units. What is it assessed? How many marks? When it's available. So unit 1, for example, is 70 marks, hour and 10 minutes, and is 40% of the qualification. Unit 2 is 105 marks, an hour and 45 minutes, and 60% of the total qualification. Within the sort of material available to you, you have sample assessment material. And I've just put some screen grabs up there showing that you've got sample assessment material for all of the different units. So that again is a really good resource in terms of your sort of planning, your sort of setting tests, looking what is needed, looking at the kind of level you need to adopt. You've also got a lot of different course materials as well. So for example, you've got a getting started guide, which again is invaluable in terms of what you need to sort of do to get your sort of course up and running, what are the big issues, how to plan, etc. So it gives you an introduction to the course. You've got key concepts and terms, topic overviews, unit overviews, the sorts of things that you might very well, sort of give to students. Also, it gives you assessment information as well, and any key changes and developments. But that's a good place to start, as it introduces the course and it introduces a sort of kind of plan of what the course is about. You've also got available to you schemes of work. And I've put an example of a scheme of work here, or a lesson scheme of work on the slide. So what you'll find is that the schemes of work will do a number of different things. That you'll have either, as so the week, I've got lesson 1, give you a learning objective, what the lesson will include, what the resources are, and provide links to those resources, and also then what skills are being developed. Then if you look at the week 2 lesson, similar kind of idea, learning objective, what should be included, what the resources are, and again, what skills are being used. But again, these are adaptable. They are not a kind of definitive, you have to do it this way. But again, it's the idea of something to support your teaching and also support the learning of your students. So you've got the topic and then the subtopic. Specification reference, suggested resources, I said, and the skills acquired through examination. So that again is a very helpful and supportive sort of path to use as a reference point. But as I said, it does not have to be exactly like that. And potential skills, last bit, acquired through teaching and delivery. Also, what you'll find is that within these schemes of work, there'll be consolidation, assessment, feedback lessons, all built in with suggested activities. This content is the same as linear. Basically, all resources that are designed for linear are largely suitable for modular. So therefore, they work across both of them. You've also then got course planners. Again, the sort of kind of caveat to this is it's a guide. It is not prescriptive. In other words, use them as a resource, but if you want to, deviate from them, but they are just a guide. Separate only content in bolded. You've got, so to give you a guide through, notes concern specific points and key terms, which are in bold. Again, the course planners provide consolidation, assessment, feedback time built in, exam and revision time is built in as well. So, you have got a geography modular 2-year course planner, and it summarizes really what can be taken in each term and what assessments you could do, suggested timings, but it does not need to be followed. So that's an example that you would get in your course planner. So if you look at the bottom box, year 1, term 3, week 1, revision time. Or the top box, year 1, term 2, week 10, they're going to be on hazard management case study. But again, it's just to give you a guide, but you can sort of flip things around to suit your teaching style or to suit your students. Again, just some examples of what's going on in a specific week. So again, you've got week 1, so year 1, term 2, week 8, introduction to hazard prediction. And then the following week has a management case study. So you can see how they follow on from each other. Additional support for teachers. Exam Wizard, you can use Teaching Hub. Linear at the moment, the Teaching Hub is linear, but it's still relevant for modular. And we will update resources for linear, and where applicable, they will be applied to modular as well. Exam Wizard is basically a free exam preparation tool, bank of past papers, mark schemes, examiners reports, all of the sort of things that actually as a teacher are really helpful and supportive in terms of delivering your qualification. Now it's really sort of kind of massively quick whiz through, but has anybody got any questions or comments? Sorry, I will go back. So let's go back to previous slide. Which slide was that? Yeah, will do. Is that the correct slide you wanted to see? Do feel free to ask any questions. I feel that I sort of talked at you a lot, but do ask questions.
I think we have a couple of questions. One is this relevant to IGCSE curriculum?
Yes, it is relevant to IGCSE curriculum. Essentially, the modular is only being offered at IGCSE and is only offered to international schools, but we're finding that it's being really sort of taken up and become really popular.
Okay, we have a second question. I noticed that Unit 1 and 2 content, there's the fragile environment section, was not there. Has this been removed for modular?
Sorry, which sections were not there?
Unit 1 and 2 content, that the fragile environment sections was not there.
Well, essentially, yeah, what is on the sort of screen is what is actually there. So if fragile environment is something that's changed, then it won't be there. But it could be that it's part of a sort of linked discussion rather than being overtly sort of stipulated in the content.
Perfect. Those are the two questions that they popped for now.
Yeah.
Also, if you guys have any more questions, feel free as well to use the chat box.
Yeah. What I would say about the fragile sort of environment, if you look, there is things on rural environments, urban environments. So it could well be that it's not explicitly sort of put there, but you would actually be still discussing it because obviously it's relevant in sort of the modern sort of discussion of geography. I mean, what I would say is, this modular approach, is really, really well supported. You've got an awful lot of, support materials, teaching and learning materials. You've got very good, subject advisors as well. And it's, the same considerations you would place for linear geography would be the same for modular. There's no difference in terms of planning. It's not scary. You'll have all the support you need. And, I think it's very much a great step forward.
Okay, we have another question. Does modular not incorporate the fieldwork aspect?
Yes, it does.
It
It
does.
does. Yeah, I did mention it at one point, but essentially one of the great things about the modular and the approach is that it can be very much a localized field work approach, because it means that you can tailor it then to your sort of local region, for example. I'm just finding the slide it had it on, which is why choose Pearson education. 2-unit assessment. The qualification will test knowledge, understanding, as well as analytical evaluation and fieldwork skills in both papers.
Okay, we have another question from Reed. Investigation-based question answers and field survey procedures. Is it there in this modular?
Yes. Yeah, essentially all of the skills that you would use in a linear IGCSE are the same for modular. So if you're looking at investigation, analytical skills, field work skills, analyzing data, those will all be used in modular as well. The actual basic content of modular and the skills for modular is no different from linear. The big difference is with linear is that you take all of your exams at the end, whereas modular, you take exams in different exam cycles. That's the difference. Is there any more questions?
Britain, no, there are no any more questions. Let me check the chat box. No, not in the chat box. Okay, so I have the two questions. So one is just to confirm the actual exam papers for each unit will be set out the same as the linear approach.
More than likely, yes, because obviously the skills and sort of approaches are sort of pretty much the same. But what I would do is I'd sort of direct you to the sample assessments, which will actually show you the way in which modular exam papers will be set out.
Okay, and then the second question is, as a school adopting Pearson and Excel for the first time, do you recommend the linear or the modular approach?
Um, well, it's a difficult one to recommend. I would sort of say there are an awful lot of benefits of modular approach. I think the most important benefit is the fact that you can do unit 1 in, say, year 10, and then unit 2 in year 11, and split it. It depends on what your school is like, what your pupils are like. Both, I think, have equal weight. They are regarded exactly the same. The approach is just different in terms of when you just sit your exams. So I'd recommend both of them, which I think is a bit of a get out, but I'd recommend both of them. But by all means, sort of contact subject advisor or myself, if you want to discuss that further.
There is a question in the chat box. I've been teaching with Pearson Geography book, but I didn't have any teacher's lesson plan, like business studies and economics. Will Pearson provide teaching lesson plan?
Yes. If you actually sort of saw that, I did sort of say there are teaching and learning materials available, and essentially you've got a course planner. You've also got schemes of work available as well, for this modular course. No, there's not a
Um,
sort of sorry, there's not a sort of rebuy. I'm not entirely sure what you mean, but essentially all of this kind of course material is freely accessible. But you need to be obviously logged in as a Pearson school. It's not a question of rebuy. Any more questions from anybody?